Hey, here we go once again. That's right, we are back at it, about to set it straight. I'm talking about them boys. And I got my boys here, we all are here right now in the Las Vegas, doing that Thanksgiving thing together. But you know what, we watched that game yesterday. Woo, what a game. It was something else. It was great, because we got that W. And that W is what we be looking for, regardless how it comes. That's how it is. But you know what though? Even though, which was kind of threw me is, even though that we won that game yesterday, and we beat them boys like we should have beaten them boys. Don't get me wrong. I think no matter what, they was gonna get a beat down one way or the other. But it did seem a little easier than I anticipated. You know what I'm saying? And that's something, we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into the offense. We're gonna get into the San Francisco and what they're doing, how it look like the Philadelphia's, because we're getting close to the end. We're on the other side right now, and this playoff picture and what it looks like. Oh, it's about to come. It's about to matter now. These games coming up is about to matter. But let's go back to this game yesterday. And Jordan, I just was talking about. We were talking about this earlier about how the game yesterday, seemed a little shaky in the sense of why was it so easy? And then you came by. You were saying some stuff yesterday. What was it? What did you say it was?
Well, I just felt like from the aspect of easy, I feel like the Commanders are in this weird spot where. It's our uncle who's a Commanders fan, from his perspective as a Commanders fan, saying it's a wholesale, right? You give up two of, I believe, your cornerstone defensive linemen who you should have probably built out your team around. You go ahead and move those pieces, which tells me, and I think it tells everyone who loves the Commanders, loves watching football, that the organization is giving up and starting over, and Josh said today that Jack Del Rio got fired, so their defensive coordinator is fired, so that the head coach is next, right? That's what it feels like. So I know from, listening to players podcast now, which is to give great insight, veterans, shout out to the Raw Room, give great insight to how the mentality of a player can be when they're on a losing team, kind of like the Commanders, where you have some good talent on the team still, but overall, like, the motivation to play is probably harder than if you were on, a Super Bowl caliber team. When hey, I'm probably not going to be here next year. I might just need to get my stats up, my tape up to look good, especially if I'm one of those on the edge guys. If you're like Sam Howell, where everything's burning around you, but you're still trying to, steer the ship, right? You're on a sinking ship, and he's going down with it, which is honorable. But at the end of the day, the organization looks like, I don't even know if they even believe in Sam Howell, if he'll even be on the team. Like, I don't know if that's the quarterback they want to go with going forward. So. But he is putting up good tape for himself, and I actually enjoy watching Sam Howell, even though it's hard to watch the Commanders play. I know it's probably super frustrating for that fan base, especially the Commanders overall for like the past 5 years. All the drama they've been going through. I think that was probably why the game felt easier. Maybe some guys just packed it in after the first couple series.
So basically, you seeing you think is the players and what been going on in the front office may have entered into their mind if they play it. Joshua, do you feel the same way, or you see something different based on how we won that game? Does it feel it was too easy, or the fact that it just looked that way because of how we dominated the game?
I think both can be true. However, I think that Jordan is 100% right. Just the fact is, there's multiple players. I mean, they're seeing their players, their former teammates leave, or teammates leave, and they're seeing personnel get released, coaches get fired left and right, and so at this point, it's hard to find a motivation to play, which they did play. I mean, they're professionals, right?
Yeah.
So it's just that that extra gump that you have going into the game, that and a lot of it was some of it was schemes, right? So a lot of things the Cowboys took advantage of the schemes that the Washington Commanders were giving to them, right? It was almost like they were. I'm not trying to say they were trying to lose the game, but like there were some things that you were like it was a 4th and 1 or a 3rd and 2, and then you want to pass it, or you want to not go for it, and you're like it's 4th or 2, but the game's not almost out of hand, but it's to the point where you need to score, and it's almost like they were trying to trick themselves almost, right? So I can see why a lot of these players are not given to the hyper, and it was a landslide, right? So I mean, I do think though there's some things that you can take out of the game, right? That the offense is getting better. The offense is getting better, and that's what you want, and it's going to seem like that when you have a better team, right? This is what you expect them to play like. Right, you can't fault them for like blowing out. I see a lot of personnel, a lot of people out in the streets, on the Twitterverse, saying they're probably not real people, but they're saying that like, oh, these wins don't matter. You're beating out garbage teams. But at the end of the day, like, what would have happened if they didn't beat these teams? So like, you can't fault them for winning a game. You can't be mad at their winning the game the way how they do, And so I don't understand the notion of garbage time stats, but that's another topic in itself. But I do think that it's a combination of both, right? The players on the Commanders not buying into the goal or the mantra that they're trying to provide, right? Or the direction. I don't know if there's any direction at all. And then there's a Cowboys team who's getting their
stride.
hitting their stride, right? And then you max those together, you're going to get a lopsided win, right?
Yeah, I agree.
To the depth too. When we're talking about depth, like you're getting rid of some of your best players, so the number 2 guy or the number 3 guy now have to step up, and they're playing against like you said, guys who are hitting their stride, who are looking at deep playoff win to a Super Bowl. That's what they're striving for, versus guys who are probably just trying to put up good tape, like Curtis Samuel, who got 100 yards on us today. He was playing hard, right? That's what I was saying. Some guys are still playing hard, regardless of how the team might be bad. But overall, Brian Samuels, the running back, not Brian Samuels. What is it? Brian Curtis. Brian Curtis. This is his last name. He was running hard as well.
Right.
So, you have, and then, Sam Howell, I saw it earlier, was playing hard. But I think overall, and I'll give the credit to the O-line. I think the O-line tried their best, too. Like, they just weren't letting us just go all crazy getting sacks on Sam Howell. I think maybe, like, I would say, I guess their integrity or their grit, like, still, like Josh said, be a professional and still show up to play a ball game. But yeah, I don't know.
Right. The reason why I was thinking about that when I was looking, because just a few games ago, that we were talking about, man, Steele was getting beat up on our right side, right?
Yeah.
He was getting now in the last couple of games. Well, I can't just say from the Washington Redskins, because when we played, what was that, Giants? Did we play recently? The week before?
We played the Panthers the week before.
The week before, when we played the Panthers, I mean, Steele looked like all pro. The way he was playing the Panthers, and then he came back, and then the way he was playing yesterday against the Redskins, Steele like, okay, what he did, he just woke up. I mean, that's what he did. He just woke up and was like, okay, all right, okay, you guys got me. You know, I screwed up and I was the weakest link.
Yeah.
But I promise you, I'm taking care of that. That's been answered. I solved what other issue. Go ahead.
I
I think it's tier level, right?
Right, and I think it's the nature of the game. I think it's who they're playing. You got to, as Jordan was saying, like they got rid of their two best defensive ends, right? Chase Young, right, and I forgot the other.
I forgot.
Chase Young and Deron Payne.
No, Payne played.
Not Payne. But it was. I'm gonna find out real quick. But they got rid of their two best edge rushers, right? And so now that you're playing with second tier players, I mean, you're gonna look better, right? But when you're playing against like the Panthers and the like Hassan Riddick and the Eagles, I mean, you're
Sweat. That's what
yes,
Montez Sweat.
Montez Sweat, right? So Montez Sweat, right, and Chase Young. But when you're playing against like the person on the Panthers and Hassan Riddick, right, on the Eagles, I mean, they're good. They're really good defensive ends. He's going to get beat, right? But what you're expecting him not to do is get beat every single play. They're going to win. They're going to win they're going to win some reps because they're the better defensive ends in the league, right? What you want Terrence Steele to do is to at least win some reps, not lose most reps, and that's what was going on. But the good thing you can take away from this is Terrence Steele is getting better. He's being more decisive in his blocks. He's not. He's pulling, and he's doing the pulls and a lot quicker, right? He's jumping out to his pass blocks a lot quicker, right? He's being more. You can see he's being a little bit more agile, right? And that is the nature of his injury, right? And I do think he's still playing at probably 85. 90%, right? But then you also got to deal with the mental aspect, which is getting better, right? It's still not the finished product. He's not playing near what he was playing last year, but he's getting there. And so that's something that you can take away, I think.
Well, I mean, that's good. I mean, that's really good. But, you know, and I was looking at some players on that left side of our O-line. Man, the one we were talking about, we were thinking about letting go if he hurt because he's always hurt. You know, Smith. Man, that boy was manhandling. That boy was. Hey, he got accomplishments. That boy was manhandling folk, man. He was manhandling folk, and he was doing that recently. He wasn't just doing that with Washington, but I seen the last few games, man. Smith seemed like he was coming to his own. And doing like he always, that's why he's a Pro Bowler. You know what I'm saying? Because that boy,
all pro.
Right. He locks when he locks up on you, man. Vice grips. That dude, man. You know, I was going back watching the plays and who sit to his right?
Tyler Smith. Might as well call them the Smith brothers.
Yeah, right. That's basically what they are, man. They're the Smith brothers, and I think he's being, you know, Tyler's really learning the trade because that left side is not being hindered hardly at all. You know, that like I really don't have to worry about my left side. And that's good as a quarterback, man. That is so securing in your mind when you're balling and you go out there and that you don't have to worry about, you know,
your blind side.
Your blind side, yeah.
No, at least that's covered.
Right.
And that's why, and I think that's why he's playing to the level that he's playing at. This is Dak with more confidence. This is Dak without fear. Like, okay, am I going to get blasted on my back, or am I going to? Does my clock run up? Because quarterbacks' clocks naturally run up. You can see that with Sam Howell. You can see that with Bryce Young. Any of these quarterbacks with Kirk Cousins when he did not have a great offensive line. His clock was running up, right? I mean, that's what happens, right? Jalen Hurts. When Jalen Hurts, his left tackle was bad, he was playing abysmal, right? I mean, I think Dax, when he didn't have his left tackle, I think he's a little bit more poised. He's more of a veteran. So I mean, the how should I say, the play doesn't drop off too much, right? But it does drop off to a level where, you know, it's noticeable, right? Brock Purdy, right? With
Tebow, Williams.
Trent Williams,
Right.
When he didn't have his left tackle, it was bad.
Yeah, I think
Almost
Trent
like
Williams-
mediocre, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
Trent Williams just brings a different, like, he's an enforcer.
Exactly.
Like, he just brings a whole different vibe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so when you have that,
You punched Richard Sherman dead in his mouth.
yes.
But check it though, and this one thing kind of not confusing me, but frustrates me too. Mediocre, minuscule about because last season, the Philadelphia Eagles O-line, how was it?
Great.
Huh?
Great.
Really great.
Really great.
As like top tier
Elite.
elite great O-line, right?
Top 3, top 2 maybe.
And with that, they gave Jalen Hurts all of his crumbs, right? They say he is an awesome top tier quarterback, right? Okay, but at the same time, when he has an O line and he make all of those plays, he's superstar. But what kind of frustrated me a little bit when Dallas hold and Dak make great plays and he had enough time to he's not being pressured, whatever the case is. But then they still don't want to give him the full height of praises. Like, the boy still got to make the passes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, he made some passes last year, but a lot of them would drop and turn into interceptions. But and I'll be the first to tell you, I used to have been in the beginning of the game last year, and in the beginning of this game, I wasn't too hype on Dak as much. I'm like, I don't know about Dak, man, but man,
This year too.
huh?
As you said, this year too. Like,
But now that as a team collectively, they're being wholesome. Now they having in this game, they seem like their run game. But let's talk about this run game a little bit. Pollard, is it the scheme, the plays, the scheming, or Pollard just feeling he just seen something different?
Yeah.
Or what's going on? Go ahead.
Since the Panthers game, I think Pollard's been feeling it. Because when Pollard put his head down and ran over dude.
Oh man, never seen that before.
Right? So ever since, I think when I was like, okay, Pollard looks like 100% himself again. And I don't know what it was about this game, but can we do more runs to the outside? Because they was killing the runs to the outside. Donald scored from the outside, got his first TD, ranked his first TD this year. Pollard was eating up for running to the outside. I think still, and I think both our sides are built to be able to run on the outside, especially don't let Steele get in front of you. I think he's a way better
Run blocker
than he is pass blocker. And I feel like that might help him out. That Gilmore's crazy. Help him out.
Yeah.
Help him out. As the game progresses, just getting in the rhythm, right? Being able to put your head down and push through guys. Get the D line tired and get those linebackers tired. So I think Pollard is playing much better because his O line is playing much better, like drastically better.
So right now, Joshua, were you thinking that do we need to do more? Was it the scheme or was it them two just playing better?
I'm 100% on. I mean, I said this before. I'm 100% that it's definitely the scheme, right? I can't say 100%.
I think it's all three.
I think it's. I mean, it's Pollard is getting more confident in his run, in his runs, and I think that's due to the fact that I think he's getting a lot healthier. They're getting more. They're featuring Rico Dotto now. That helps. And the biggest thing I think is the scheme, right? So you have gap scheme, which I think that they were doing that because the reason why I think that they were doing gap schemes is because of the fact that you had who was our backup, the Dallas Cowboys backup left tackle. Can't even think about it right now.
Dallas Cowboys Ed something?
Oh man, I forgot.
Dallas Cowboys backup left tackle?
Left tackle. He was in the beginning.
It wasn't Adalu or something like that?
Yeah, from
This year, right?
Yeah. So I forgot how to say his name
because I always say it wrong. I mean, you would always correct me.
Yeah.
Idalu or something like that.
Yeah. And so what he I think because of the fact that he didn't work with Tyler too much, so they had to do like gap schemes, and also you have to also attribute it to the fact that
But that's not even bread and butter. I think
that our Mike Solari was also sick, and he was out the first couple of games. He had to deal with personal issues too. So, but now that they're going from gap to zone schemes, and here's the difference, right? So gap works better when your offensive linemen are not as strong or as agile as the defensive linemen, right? So this kind of helps you deal with stunts a little better, right? But zone deals with, okay, now we have a very solid offensive line. They can deal with linemen in tandem. So this, you have to have some sort of relationship with whoever's next to you, so that way the left tackle, left guard can work in tandem. The left guard, the center can work in tandem. Center, right guard can work in tandem. Right guard and right tackle, they can all work in tandem, right? And that's how you develop more explosive plays, right? And so that's what they're doing a lot more, and you're seeing it on the field. Now, granted, this is against the Commanders. This is against the Panthers, right? But you're starting to see that these can be more successful because they're dealing with zone blocking, right? The Philadelphia Eagles deal with zone blocking too because they have a fantastic O-line. They don't have to deal with gap blocking. Zone blocking creates more explosive plays, but that's only if you have a solid offensive line. And now that they have more of a solid offensive line, this is what's happening. Terrence Steele is doing a lot better too, right? So you could have to attribute to that well because he's playing, I wouldn't say lights out, but he's playing a lot better than what he's played at the beginning of the year.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, I think and I'm hoping, but just like you guys said earlier, that I mean, we're still playing against NFL professional players. I think that we are beating the teams that we're supposed to beat, but in a manner in which we are beating them, I believe that it kind of sets us apart because we got other teams who beating the teams they're supposed to beat, but they're not beating them like we're beating them.
Yeah. I think to add on to, I think past Cowboys we would always play down to our competition. Right now we're playing to a higher standard. Like we know that we should be dropping at least 40 on teams that are below 500. And guess what? When we play those teams below 500, we're blowing them out the water.
Right.
And then even with teams outside of the 49ers game, even against like teams like the Eagles, we're putting ourselves right there in competition, going blow for blow, haymaker for haymaker with that team.
Right.
We got to redeem ourselves when we play the 49ers, and that still remains to be seen. But I think we are one of the 5 best teams in the NFL. I think we're top 3.
And I would say this, right? This team is built for the pass. This team is built for as far as defensively goes, right? It's and probably offensively too, but it's built so that way, like the pass rushers are above average. They're great to some sort of extent because you have Michael Parsons.
Yeah, I think we got 50-something stats.
You have Tank Lawrence. You have Osa Digizua. You have Jonathan Hankins, by the way, 2 sacks, defensive tackle this game. Jonathan Hankins, 2 sacks this game, right? You have Jonathan Hankins, right? You have Fowler, right? So you have, and I don't know if I said Osa Digizua because Osa Digizua is playing lights out now. So you're playing Sam Williams even, right? So these are speed. They're all about speed, right?
Yeah.
And so basically, right, while they may not be as power, and it's great for the running game, they're good for their lopsided when it comes to the pass. So when your offense is scoring a lot and you're not, and then the opposing side is not scoring, they're meaning to pass the ball. They have no other choice but to pass the ball, and that's falling right into the forte of the Cowboys defense. Right. So now you're not only getting sacked, but now you're having the potential for takeaways, right? Especially when you have great corner. I said receivers. Might as well be receivers, right? Deron Bland has probably
when we're talking about the defensive player of the year.
Deron Bland has more touchdowns than a lot of receivers.
got more touchdowns than a lot of your favorite receivers.
Right. So I will say this, that it just feeds into their strength, and so that's why you get these lopsided wins.
Yes.
Because now get the turnover on downs, interceptions, pick sixes. Now these scores are going to be a lot more lopsided as opposed to you see with these other teams where that's probably not their forte. And then these like the Eagles where
their secondary is not as good.
secondary is not as good, right?
Yes.
And it just doesn't feed into their forte, so that gives them the people like the Commanders the opportunity to score touchdowns and be in the game.
We have a great balance between secondary and our pass rushing D line, and the two is a great yin and yang because you need both to be successful. You need the pass rush to get the quarterback to hurry up and throw the football, which could lead to miscues and interceptions. And at the same time, when you have a good secondary that can lock guys down, which we did, the quarterback tends to hold the ball sometimes longer than necessary, which allows sacks and pressures. And they work right now. They're working great for us.
Okay, and you know what? And speaking about that D line, I know you guys were talking earlier about this, and which I didn't even know. And it's funny that you call out a lot of names right just then, Joshua. But one person you didn't say, which I thought you was going to talk about because we were talking about it earlier, was DeMarcus Lawrence.
Mm-hmm.
You guys were saying that his game today recently has been off the charts, but it's almost like a silent killer that you so to speak because everybody putting their eyes on on number 11, Michael Parsons. So
right.
So what did you guys see Lawrence actually contributing this year?
All right. So everybody knows pass rushers for what? Sacks, right? Sacks, right? But what people don't know, pass rushers or defensive ends for pressures, run defense. I think Tank Lawrence is the best run defensive player right now in the NFL, right? He's naturally a better run defender, right? He is probably the best when it comes to
run to his side.
You don't want to run to his side, right?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I think they run more to Mika's side also, outside of trying to get hats on him.
Right, because Tank Lawrence can shed blocks, and I think that just comes with experience, right? And it also comes with his weight, right? His build. He's built he is a natural defensive end.
It's a natural tank.
Yes, he's a natural defensive end, and he's using his talent to his advantage for that, right? So beforehand, when he had people like David Irving, right, the defensive tackle and everything helping him out, right, he was getting home. And who's not to say he's not getting home right now, because he is getting home on plays, right? Because he's just being that person that the defense they have to give a double team on Tank Lawrence, so that way now other people are feasting,
Right.
And so, but also the run defense, right? So I think everywhere else probably is suspect except for that left side, whatever side that Tank Lawrence is on. They're probably not running for it. They're probably not going to have one or two. He can dissect any play, even if it's a throw in the flat. Tank Lawrence is going to be right there. I think the only time that it went farthest because he got juked out. I forgot, it was the last game with Bryce Young, but he was right there. He was about to make a tackle for a loss. So
right.
Tank Lawrence he's I think number 5, number 6 in PFF grade.
Really?
And the NFL.
Really?
So. And in some cases, he was a higher defensive. He was a higher graded than Mika Parsons at one point, right? So, Tank Lawrence is quietly good. He's probably going to have a very hefty contract when he's.
Yeah, and I would second on top of that. We're not talking about him as much. Is Stephon Gilmore, who in our secondary, who is quietly having a really great season. He might not be coming away with all the picks. But like Josh was saying, being a veteran, having years in this league, knowing receivers and quarterback tendencies, watching film, knowing what kind of leverage do I have to have on this play, or who's over top of me, being a vet, even in this game, getting deflections, getting tackles, not giving up too many first downs. I think he's been having a great season for us. And we never had that. At least as long as I've been watching football for the Dallas Cowboys, I have not seen a secondary that looks as good as ours. And that just leaves me wishing that we had Diggs because, oh my gosh, the secondary looks so good.
So our secondary to you is probably one of the best in the league right now to you?
Hands down. I don't know what secondary. I think our secondary is the best. I don't know who, outside of maybe the 49ers secondary, but I still feel like their corners are nowhere. They probably have better safety play, but our corner play, I think, is what who kind of trumps it.
And you're talking about right now, even with Diggs now. You talking about including Diggs, or you talking about right now what's active?
Diggs, right? Even without Diggs, with just Jordan Lewis, with Stephon Gilmore, and with Deron Bland, with Malik Hooker, and with Malik Hooker and Jaron Kearse, who didn't even play this game. Jaron Kearse, who we had Wanye Thomas playing, that Josh brought up earlier, and I think Wanye Thomas, being that, I think Wanye Thomas is going to be the starter coming up pretty soon. So.
Oh.
Yeah, Wanye Thomas.
He's more physical. I mean, I agree.
Wanye Thomas is playing how Wilson was playing when he first came on, and I think it's just when you get new players, they're hungry. They're hungry. So I think I think it might be an end of an era, but I would definitely thank Jaron Kearse and Malik Hooker and
set the stage
for setting the standard of how safety needs to be played. And I would, if he's willing to take a back seat role as a rotating guy, because I think that works well for us rotating safeties, and just to have that veteran leadership, kind of how Yasan Haslam for the Heat. Well, he didn't play, but he's the guy, he's the standard. So I wouldn't mind keeping him on the team for that. I don't know if they want to pay him, we will. But I know he probably wants to play. But yeah,
I will say this.
What secondary is playing?
I will say this. 3 or 4 years ago, right? We were all about Jordan Lewis, right?
Yeah.
And he was probably like, he's probably our best corner on the team.
He was at one point.
Right? Next to Xavier Woods, who the creator of the horse collar, or the horse mask, I should say.
The horse mask.
And then there was the other corner that we had. There was Xavier Woods and Antonio Brown. Anthony Brown. And so Jordan Lewis was clearly the best.
And then what was his name? We split the first round pick on him.
Byron.
No, not Byron Jones. Byron Jones was who turned out to be good. We put him at safety the whole time,
right,
which was wrong.
Yeah.
Right. No, I'm talking about the after Byron. He played corner. He was first round pick. Oh my gosh, he was first round pick.
No, he was that was we paid the money for.
No, we didn't. He was a first round pick at corner.
Not the first pick, but the first round.
He was a first round pick. Yeah.
We're actually being our first. Who? Defense?
Yeah, defense.
It wasn't Micah Parsons?
No, it was a few years ago, back when we had back corner play.
Either way, to say while he's looking that up, we had to say that Jordan Lewis now, and people are like, oh, they're picking on Jordan. To say that he's like the third best corner, that just tells you how good our cornerback play is. Right? To have Stephon Gilmore and Deron Bland, and we haven't even talked about the history making of Deron Bland yet, but Deron Bland, Stephon Gilmore. Right now, the only thing that's kind of suspect. Morris Claiborne. That was way longer.
Yeah, that was 2012. I thought
way longer. I was like, yeah, maybe our weakness as far as the secondaries goes is probably our coverage for our safety play, but that's starting to go up too.
I think our free safety.
I like Wanye Thomas. He's coming to the fray a little bit, a lot more. But as far as secondary goes, yeah, they're up there. I mean, I wouldn't put them as number one.
Who's your number one then? If it's not them,
believe it or not, the Broncos. Broncos are, I think. you know, for a lot of
They give up. You can't give up 70 points and say Brown. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Look, there's a lot. There's
a lot going on. Yes, but still.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. Yes, but still, like you don't give up 70 points.
70 points is hard to swallow, though, John.
You have great. You have good players.
70 points. You can have a bad game.
good.
You can have a bad game.
You can have a bad game, but I've never seen a 70 point bad
game.
game. That's unheard of.
Patrick
Only
Surtain is great. Yes,
I would say
those guys are good.
Those are just a bad.
Those guys are good, but we're talking about this year and the way our secondary is playing. I feel like we're better than 49 secondary. I have to say they're second to us. You can argue because their safeties are probably better, but our corners are probably better. I like us better. But I'm not saying Broncos because they're playing good now, right? They've had a nice 4-game stretch, but now you give up 70 points.
Yeah. What a Dallas defense rank right today?
I think we're 3 or 2. I'm not sure.
I would say.
I think the 49ers. I wouldn't know. 49ers weren't number 1. The Ravens were number 1.
You're talking about the
total defense. Yeah, I think Ravens are 1. I think 49ers are 2. I think we were 3, 4. I think we were because I know last week we were top 5, and the Eagles were like 9 or something like that. But the Ravens were number 1. So.
Yeah, I know that we're not good in as far
I
as
guess we took them
to the defensive run goes.
Yeah.
But I still think that I don't know. I think that the Broncos are up there, and that's
when you say up there,
right? I still think that they're like.
You think their defense, overall defense, is better than our overall defense?
Oh no, I'm talking about the secondary. I get the fact that they had that 70 points, but I think that was an aberration. Like I thought.
Not just the they have multiple games where they were giving up, points.
I think they're onto something now, and I think they're.
I think we've been onto something though. I personally think Deron Bland should be Defensive Player of the Year.
You know what? That's not a point that could be argued with too much, because I mean you got other players out there that they probably try to give it to as far as quarterbacks, but because that's probably going to be, you say defensive. Yeah. I'm sorry, defensive player of the year.
TJ Watts and
right, but man, I mean Bland record holder this season. I mean, with that alone, he broke records as a defensive player.
Not giving
should give you a strong candidate. No, actually, he gave up 8 touchdowns.
Well, probably I think he might give up 1.
Right, I think he gave up 1 touchdown.
Because he gave up 1 against Smith during the Eagles game.
Right, to the left corner of the end zone. Yeah, but I think with just by him, the records that he broken, he holds that alone right now.
Yeah.
This season.
We still got 5 games to go?
No, we got more than that, I think. I think we have 6 games left or something like that.
Hey, man.
But so
keep throwing to him. I want to see it. I want to see how far he can take it.
Yeah, I mean, right now, people even questioning, and that he may be better than Diggs, which I don't believe.
Not me neither.
But see,
I can see different aspects of it because I feel like they have their. I would say I could see as you go back. It's like what you like. It's like what do you like? Like receivers. Like do you like fast deep ball receivers, or do you like methodical receivers who can get it off the muscle, or like jump like a Dez type receiver versus like a Amari Cooper type receiver, right? Mm-hmm. Or Chris Carter type receiver where he just has amazing hands. Michael Irvin, he's just gonna get the ball wherever he can. Our speedster, like Tyreek Hill. It's different aspects of the gameplay, and I feel like Diggs might be a one of a one in just terms of the way he plays corner, because he doesn't play corner like a traditional corner. which I think Deron Bland does. I feel like Deron Bland plays corner because he's been playing corner, while Diggs plays corner more like receiver. You see him. Diggs just makes stupid plays, deep. I can't wait to see them both on the
field of the sides.
Yes, because if you go deep on Diggs, you gotta be careful because he's gonna get you. 1 out of 3 of those balls is gonna get picked off. And we're talking about him not taking the bait on pump fakes as much, or not just pump fakes, but routes of.
But that's what they used to try to get him
route,
on.
like fake
Yeah.
on the comeback fake routes. Diggs not biting those as much anymore, especially the couple games that he did play this year. Diggs was looking good. So with Deron Bland just being able to play any underneath route, can go for a pick six. Diggs,
Right.
it's just what you like. It's fun to watch Diggs because he plays with this freedom, he's like a bird just flying around freely, and you're just and then Bland, he's just like, hey man.
Yeah, it's just with Diggs. Yeah, so with Diggs, it's just like, with Diggs, it's like if he's around
the ball's in the air, you like, hey, he's gonna come down like this.
There's a possibility, right? And I don't know if Bland has that capability just yet, but I will say it's more of a chess game with Bland. Bland will get in your head and he will make you think that you got somebody open.
Yeah. But they both do that, though. That's the crazy part. They both do that.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, oh, he's open. And Diggs is like, whoop! Catch.
Yeah. Right.
Bland is like, God, I got you.
Yeah, that play last week and today and yesterday. Bland did make you seem like the receiver had almost 2 steps ahead of Bland.
Yeah.
And that when
accelerated on the ball.
Right, and then when he saw that open, I'm sure that quarterback okay, bam, okay, this is easy.
Yeah.
The easy target.
Yeah.
And Bland came out of nowhere. How'd I close that angle that fast? He's special.
And the way Bland uses inside leverage, outside leverage, the way he uses the field to make it harder for receivers to stay. Don't give them as much space on deep routes. I think, and then he's constantly learning, constantly. That's why I'm thinking he's more of a pure cornerback. And who's just got great hands and great instincts on getting the ball, and Diggs is just like this receiver playing he's just it's nothing that I've seen before from Diggs. I have not seen a corner play corner the way Diggs does, where you throw deep, you throw it up in the end zone, Diggs might come down with it. Right. Just that kind of capability. Deep balls, the red zone, jump balls, I love it, man.
I see that, and I see the way you were talking about how Bland actually snuggles that sideline. He makes a very small, window of opportunity for receivers because he shortens that distance between the end zone. From the sideline for the player run. But you said something this while ago. You said, you can't wait to see how it would look if you have them on both sides, Diggs and Bland. Now we just got Gilmore, so how would you say that? Which means Gilmore are going to have to do something else. Either
just Bland back inside,
put him in the slot.
He's just going.
I want him to be in the slot.
It's deadly. I
want him to be in the slot.
He wants him to be in the slot because Bland is literally probably the best slot. No, hands down, is the best slot corner in the NFL. But with the capability and him getting all these, and that's why I say guys need reps. Guys need to get snaps in real games to see how good they can potentially be. And the more snaps Bland gets at playing outside, the better. And we've been able to see. He's
growing. His ceiling is higher than what we thought. Right.
So because it's hard playing in the slot, right? Because the receiver literally has more field to play with. He has more different type of routes he can run, and Bland just locks it down. And usually your slot receiver is playing more of the flats, right? He's not all the time running a post route, right? That's what outside guys are for. And Bland, you run anything in the flat, he can take it for a pick six.
Right.
So that's why Josh is like, I want him to stay inside because that's deadly. And even if so, like we keep Gilmore like if we keep all three of them, it's like
Gilmore uses his
veteran prowess.
His veteran prowess to his benefit, right?
Yeah,
right.
Putting himself in good positions.
He puts himself in good positions, good angles, and he knows when the safety is like, all right, my safety is my help, so I can be a little bit more.
That's why we need a better.
You know, I can be a little bit more aggressive in this play. You know, or I don't have safety help, so I'm gonna have to play a little deep, right? Is I'm gonna have to play off the ball a little bit more, right? I can't play press man coverage, right? I know this guy can beat me, so I'm gonna make sure that I have enough so that way I can cover. So he'll get like maybe 4 or 5 yards, 6 yards, but he's not gonna get any more than that, right?
You're not gonna give up the touchdown at all.
And so that's what Gilmore has, and that's a solid corner, and that's what you want in a corner like that.
That's a defensive player corner right there.
Yeah, but I noticed that, and which makes a very difficult defense for any offense to manipulate, because if our corners are sticking that tight, and like Diggs was becoming like Deion Sanders, locking down the corner, the whole side of the field. He was becoming to that. Now we got Bland, who looked like trying to have that Deion-esque kind of skills that, you got to be careful when you go on that left side, man, because it's danger over there. So with that being said, all of that gives our defensive line even more a second or so to rush and get to that quarterback, because nothing is no seam is. So now quarterback's going to have to be more on a timing pace on everything and hoping that their receivers get open, because if they wait till they get open, that might not happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so
disruption of timing routes is definitely like.
I'll say. Go ahead.
I was just saying timing routes. You definitely gonna have to have timing routes on our team. Like you're not gonna get too many sit back and look around and have time, because you're not gonna get that in the pocket, because the pocket you got 3-4 seconds to get rid of that ball, and then our corners are so good and they're watching tape, they jump in your timing route. So it is, I don't know, I just can't. And I think the only thing is like Malik Hooker, if you just take better angles. If you take better angles, it'll be shut down. It'll be shut down.
And I'll say this though, and speaking of which, our Achilles heel is the middle of the field, right?
Linebackers?
Yes, linebackers.
And I'll say in this game too, our linebackers played really good in coverage.
They did. They played really good. Rashad Evans played really good. Don't even get me started. Marquise Bell.
Bell played really good in coverage.
But
okay, again, is this because of the Redskins or because they actually developing and becoming better?
I think a few of the other previous games they played really good coverage. I just think they're not beefy enough to play the run when it gets dirty.
Right.
I feel like they could play wheel.
This team doesn't want to play a very dirty game of because it's going to be a very long game.
That's why we got to go get Shaquille Leonard from the Colts released, because if he's playing Mike, he gives us that beefy middle linebacker who can get dirty and put his helmet on, put his hat on.
You need a true linebacker. You need somebody that has the girth, has the weight and everything, and you can see it. Like,
I'm on the flight to his house.
And I will say this, Cowboys fans, Dallas Cowboys are very active right now. They're very active with it. They're doing their health screenings and everything like that. Jerry Jones said that he's already talked with Darius Leonard and everything like that.
Did?
Yes, he already talked with them. There's Eagles are trying to do it too. So they're just trying to get the medical squared away to see if he's good. I think
Yo, don't let us get Darius. I'm telling you right now.
So
it's
going to take a couple.
Cracking.
But you want
Darius Leonard is literally would be what Fred Taylor is. So you know what Fred Taylor is, because I know Colts don't get that much coverage. Darius Leonard is that guy. So if Dallas Cowboys can come with a Darius Leonard to shore up that Mike linebacker who can shore up, calling, you got no lot to worry about, guy calling plays, guy can get sideline to sideline, shed blocks, especially the way our D line is, right? Because everybody, that O-line's going to have a hat, right? And I think that's when the O line gets to the second level, sometimes our linebackers not being able to hit the gap to seal off runs that the running back does. He can do that at a high level.
But see, this is what happened was these last 2 years, Darius Leonard was actually doing too much. He was. And that's why he wasn't as successful as he was during his all-pro years. So he was asked to do way too much more than he had to do. The defensive schemes were a lot more complex. These defensive schemes are not that much, and he doesn't have to have that much responsibility. He could depend on his guys to get home, right? And so if he has to worry about, he can shed blocks too. So if all he has to do is worry about a little bit of that stuff, they're not going anywhere. This has the potential to be almost as good as the San Francisco 49ers defense.
No, this has potential to be better than San Francisco 49ers.
I said I won't go that far.
Saying better.
I'm more conservative, but it's up there.
That is the only missing link that we're having on this defense.
That missing piece, that missing puzzle.
That put us over the top. And I think for the defense, that is putting us over the top. For our offense, it would probably be having one more receiver that we can truly depend on outside of Cooks. But I feel like we do have those. I'm more confident in our receiving core now than earlier in the year. But the linebacker core, I'm not, just because those guys are light. I like Bell, and I think he could play Sam or Will. Same with what's the other guy's name? The other linebacker.
You talking about Rashad?
Yeah, Rashad. I feel like they could play Sam and Will, and especially when coverage, when you have a linebacker that can hang with running backs, that it's not a mismatch when tight ends get on them. Yeah, put them in. So if that's all they have to worry about,
you're gonna see the benefit of a linebacker play this next game.
Yeah.
With Bobby Wagner.
And Leonard is a plug and play guy. You don't he does not have to do too much.
Talking about the Seahawks?
Yes. You're going to see how good or how beneficial a great or a really, really good linebacker is when you have that. When you have that benefit of a really good linebacker, it just opens up your playbook a lot more interceptions, more they're going to have no other choice but to pass the ball, right? So the Dallas Cowboys are going to have their work cut out for this next game, and we'll talk about that later. But the next
segment?
Podcast, I should say.
Right.
But this thing is that Darius Leonard, he has the potential of being really, really good. He hasn't lost a step, right? He needs good coaching, which Dan Quinn, right, is one of the better coaches.
Quinn, yeah.
He's one of the better coaches. And, when it comes to the secondary and defensive back coach, and if he wants to learn a little bit more from that, you got Al Harris. And that's the reason why Deron Bland and Diggs is so good, is because of Al Harris. So, I think Darius Leonard will be very, very, very beneficial to the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay. All right. Well, look, man, I do believe that we're just shy of a linebacker position to be that awesome defense that I believe I saw with Jordan. Well, they're saying that one defensive linebacker, but one defensive piece as well put us where we, number one defense, shutdown defense, because and when everyone talk about what the Cowboys have the worst, ability to do right now is that run stop, that run defense. That's what we have a problem with, our run stop defense, right? Mm-hmm. So, if we seal that up, there's no more holes in the boat.
There's no more holes.
There's no more holes in the boat. So I believe if we seal that hole, I believe we floating our way to the big times, and it just matters basically on our play calling, which I'm gonna go back again and talk about. It's gonna be back to McCarthy. And saying, okay, you got all right now. We have what we have everything that we need to go forward. Our O-line is playing better. You got Steele playing good ball. Now you got Pollard and even Whittle, right, running the ball like we're supposed to. What else do we need other than the schemes that we're running to win games and be able to play games? And I know, and it's something because everybody always say, well, you Dallas fans always, but when we look at what we have, and just like here on setting it straight with fam, we keep it straight. We look at the game, we look at it. If we're not doing well, we analyze what other, professional games, and we put them together, whatever the case is, and we make, logical sense of, okay, well, this matters. Well, that matters, and these schemes matters. And basically, what we have seen, what I've seen, if we do, I think we have a chance now. But I think with that linebacker, I think we have more of a chance going further in the playoff than
because I feel
what we
like
have now.
in those nail biter games, right? In those 49ers Eagles games, I think that would help us tremendously having a veteran in that spot, being able to put guys in the right place, know what's going on, and be able to, to make plays when it's time to make plays. So, yeah.
Okay, now looking at before we go, looking at what's coming ahead. We got the Eagles, we have Seattle, we have the Commanders again, we have Buffalo. That's 4 right there. I can't remember the fifth one we have. But out of those games, basically what you're seeing today, out of those games, have you guys seen anything different? Should we be worried about our next game? It's the same look that you've been seeing before. We should become steady, or you more confident? All right, how you feel about that?
I would say I'm more confident now in our next stretches of games, but in no way, shape, or form is this next 5 games going to be easy. I mean, this is a gauntlet. You're talking about Seattle, Eagles, Miami, Bills. Like you're talking, and then I think it's after that is Washington again,
right?
So you're and that's just a division game. So these games are going to be pretty tough. But I think though that I'm glad that if there were games to have, before this, these were the best games to have
To help build
confidence, momentum, and then also to help
work out the
kinks and everything like
play
that.
calling. I feel like we did that now. I feel like we know what works. We know what schemes work best for our players. It's just time to go out there and execute each game. These are playoff teams that are coming up, and so we'll get to gauge how good our team will be in the playoffs. Get to gauge and break down. It'll be more fun too because we'll get to really see who's a really the guy who's really about it, and Dak's been having it fairly easy. So it'll be crunch time for Dak. It's gonna be fun, especially.
That's right.
Especially we might have to see the Seahawks in the playoffs. So it's good to see where we're at. And we can stop talking about, well, you're playing under 500 teams. Well, we're playing over 500 teams. So it's going to be a lot of great matchups. The Tyreek Hill matchup's going to be good. Unfortunately, our Diggs is out. It would have been cool to see, brother Diggs playing each other. Right? That would have been awesome to see. But DeRon Bland is over there with Gilmore, so it'll be great to see that match.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't want and I don't know how competitive the brothers, I know how competitive you guys are, but I don't know how competitive brothers is. I don't know if Diggs like, I'm going to let you get one by or something like that.
Yeah, it's bragging rights for them. It's bragging rights. I've seen them work out in the offseason.
Yeah.
So they be going at it. So So
that's good.
Yeah.
But and getting away from the football, and this is Thanksgiving, man. We had an awesome time in Thanksgiving here in Vegas, man. We got the family came back together. Joshua made that trip back from the East Coast, to come join us, and we having a good time, man. Our feast yesterday was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
OMG.
Roast.
Oh man, look at here. It's everything. It's everything. And I'm sure everyone has their favorites and not so favorites. So I'm gonna ask you, guys, real quick. We'll go around here and say what you say is what's the word I'm looking for? rated or underrated? Overrated or underrated? Thanksgiving dish. So, what do you think is a underrated dish that nobody talk about, but you think is the greatest? And then I'm gonna go with the overrated. So right now, what's your most underrated dish?
Go ahead, Jordan.
The most underrated dish at Thanksgiving, I gotta say, or I would say overrated dish at Thanksgiving. I know a lot of people, our family does a different take on it, but other family I know they and I can't stand it. I think it's gross. It's stuffing.
Yeah.
Regular tabletop stuffing, I think it's super overrated. My mama's seafood stuffing, that's different. That one is delicious.
Yeah, she brings that seafood stuff. I've never ever since she started making that, ever since that day she made that seafood stuffing.
Yeah.
I never wanted the regular stuffing.
Yeah.
Ever again.
Yeah.
I don't even want it on my plate. If I see it there, I'm walking right by it. You know what I'm saying?
For me, that tabletop stuffing or whatever stuffing, your friend might make a good stuffing, but I'm talking about just regular stuffing that people show up with. Overrated.
Overrated? Okay, since we're going to start with overrated, go ahead. What you got? Overrated dish.
Overrated dish. A lot of people are going to hate me for this.
You gonna say
Turkey.
I will say, if your turkey dry, it's over.
But turkey in general. I'm not talking about topping turkey. I'm talking about turkey in general.
Yeah.
There's some because like you said, your mom made a juicy turkey yesterday. That turkey was juicy and
Your mom has been
flavorful.
knocking out the park with the juicy turkeys lately.
Yeah.
I just don't understand what the whole why is it centered around a turkey. I just think that's the most. Especially when there's ham. I'm a ham guy.
I'm with you. I'm a
ham guy. And I just think that's
ham,
more
mac and cheese, and hams with the seafood
Maybe
stuff.
I need to look at my history and the reason why the turkeys is why everybody wants to bake a turkey. Cause
I think it's too because you probably had so many dry turkeys that it just becomes overrated. 'Cause I was gonna say turkey too. But you and mom been knocking out the park with y'all turkeys. Yeah. So it kind of slipped down, but I know I go to some other places and there's some dry turkey.
Yeah,
I'm like, why is it?
Turkeys are
pass.
Yeah.
I ain't trying to hurt no feelings, but I had a family member that made a super dry turkey, and I was like, that's a hard pass.
Yes.
I think he tried to smoke it or something, but yeah.
To me, overrated. I would also say the stuffing, and that's what I was going to say earlier, because I just don't.
Yeah.
And I never thought stuffing was anything I want to put on my plate.
Yeah.
Unless I douse it with some gravy or something like that to make it, you know what I'm saying? To me, it's just overrated. I can have a turkey dinner without stuffing until your mom made the seafood stuffing, and I cannot have it without that. So
shout out to Louisiana, because that's my grandma in Louisiana. That's where that seafood stuffing. Where mom she did a different take on it, but that's where mom got the
idea from Louisiana.
Yeah,
well, shout outs to you, Louisiana, because I tell you what, that seafood turkey is off the chain.
Everything in Louisiana is great when it comes to it.
Right. So so do you have any underrated? Something that you
underrated? I don't know if it's underrated, but I think I don't know if it's underrated because everybody loves it. But I would probably say ham. I don't hear people. I think ham might be underrated.
Ham?
I don't know. I think it might be because I don't hear people. I don't know. Everybody loves it, but maybe I'm tripping. I don't know.
It's underrated because it should be the featured dish.
Maybe that's why. Maybe I'm thinking because everyone always has ham on their plate, so I don't know. But I don't ever hear people say. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll say this. Okay, it's ham and yams for me. Like if you make a good yam, and I don't know if that's underrated either. That might just be rated maybe. But if you make a good yam or ham, then yeah.
You think yams are overrated?
Under. We said underrated.
Oh, you were doing underrated.
Yeah, we're doing underrated.
Okay. What about you?
So any casserole is underrated for me.
Oh, any casserole. Yeah,
any
casserole.
So casseroles are really good. Right. People don't really talk about it too much, but like everybody has casseroles on their plate. They don't really think about it. I think that's why it's the most underrated dish because people don't really think about it. But the casseroles are like they're like the defensive tackles of that when it comes to the Thanksgiving dish. Like you don't really see too much of it, but if it's not there, you feel like there's something missing.
Yeah.
It's a casserole.
To me, and your mom got me away from this, and I hate it. But because of her, I don't make it really anymore. But I think, and some people might say it, but I think underrated dish is cornbread, a butter cornbread.
Yeah.
That we don't have it. We don't
Yeah.
make cornbread. I don't see a lot of people make that butter cornbread. We make
Yeah,
My
but
wife
it's
was
good.
a little upset about that too. Yesterday.
There's no cornbread.
Yeah, you did
Yeah.
make cornbread.
I would
Right.
I understand why mom because the seafood stuffing is just cornbread.
right.
So
Yeah,
it's
it
a
has a lot of
bread.
bread.
So you put bread next to bread. But you're right. Cause
She was looking forward to that
like
cornbread.
grandma's cornbread.
I know, right? I know, right? Yeah, I know.
You know that I'm getting too.
Yes, it's something about cornbread, especially
Yeah.
a fluffy. Put that butter and
It
it's
just warms your
ah,
stomach. It just warms your
yeah,
stomach.
it's something. But you know, I don't see too many people have that. You know what I'm saying? But I for at least in our house, I think that cornbread is
Maybe a
underrated.
small one then. Maybe a small. She got me mad at a small one.
Well, true, yeah. I mean, she like rolls. I'm like, who in the world like
Yeah.
rolls? I mean, I'll eat a roll, but
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, you know. It's,
I know some people enjoy.
she probably gonna get mad I say that right now, but yes, we're gonna have to.
We had some
maybe
Hawaiian rolls.
maybe I can get you guys to
I'm not mad at cornbread.
pump it up so I
I didn't know. I
can get
didn't,
it back
I
in the
didn't
menu.
know. I didn't know that was the reason why we weren't having cornbread. That's crazy.
Yeah, my wife was so looking forward to that.
Oh man, yeah, but it's good. But yeah, that is how we do it. We keep it straight, and there we go. Sitting here in Las Vegas on Thanksgiving, man, we had such an awesome time today. We had an awesome time this whole week, spending time together with family. Man, I tell you what, if you have it, man, go grab it. Stick with your family, man. You don't get no better than that, man. You know, this is a good time. This is a good place. Watch good football games. Watch it, especially even better when those Dallas Cowboys do their thing and they bring it. That's how we do it. We keep it straight with fam. Look, if this is your first time, I want you to look down, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. You know what I'm saying? Come with us again. And you know what I'm saying? Watch it, because we're going to always bring it straight. We're always going to keep it straight with fam. That's right. So, we see you guys. Enjoy. Peace. How about them Cowboys?